guys, welcome back to a page in the chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and today we are going through my anticipated releases for the rest of the year. Now, granted, there's not long left of the year, but kind of like a midway or 2/3 of the way through the year, anticipated releases update is something that I do really enjoy doing, which I didn't really get to do because I was still on my booktube break at the time when I would have probably wanted to do it, and then I got caught up in a load of other content and just never really got round to this video, so I'm gonna do it now even though it is quite late in the year for it. So if you guys like the sound of this video and you would like to see more of my face on your screen, then do please feel free to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button down below to stay tuned for future content. I upload every single Wednesday and every single Sunday. Also, do feel free to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page and Chapter so you can see what I'm reading and how I'm reviewing it in real time. You can also see random updates on my life, help me decide what to read and when to read it, see books that I'm super excited about that are announced that I'm reposting, stuff like that. Just more content basically. And without further ado, let's get on into the books I am excited for the end of the year. So the first book that I'm going to talk to you about, I'm putting it first because by the time this video is up, this book will already be out. But the reason I'm keeping it in this video is because I will not be getting to it for a while because it just doesn't really fit with my autumnal aesthetic TBR that I have set for myself. So I will be reading it in November if I'm lucky, and that is Caught Up Windy City Book 3 by Liz Tomford. I have fallen in love with this series basically. I thought the first book, which is Mile High, it is a KU hockey romance. Really enjoyed it. Great example of a hockey romance, but like, you know, it wasn't like the best thing I've ever read in the entire world. But the second book, that was a basketball romance, blew me away. Absolutely incredible book, and so I'm super excited about Caught Up. I have seen some snippets on Twitter, or I guess X now. I have also seen reviews for it and I am super excited to get to this book. So this follows our main character Kai, and we have met him briefly in the last book, and he is a baseball player and also a single dad. I'm not usually one for a single dad romance, but just from the clips I've seen of this and Liz Tomford's writing, I am really interested in this book and excited for it. And he basically has no interest in having a nanny. He wants to raise his son himself. He keeps firing his nannies, and then his coach puts his foot down and makes him hire his daughter. So this is a single dad coach's daughter romance, and from the clips that I've seen, it's just really cozy and wholesome, and I'm really excited about it, mostly just because I love Liz Tomford's writing. The next book that I am literally counting down the days for is King of Greed, The Kings of Sin Book 3 book. I love this series. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan. So far, King of Wrath Book 1 has been my favourite because it is a marriage of convenience trope, which is one that I just love, and I think it is one of the few marriage of convenience tropes that I have seen work in a contemporary setting, and I really enjoyed it. King of Greed was also really fun read, really enjoyed it, was very different in tone to the first book. Honestly, just a great time, but I've been waiting for this one. Like, this book has been teased in the past 2 books and I have been waiting for it. So King of Greed is going to be a second chance romance following Dominic and Alessandra. So we know from the previous book that these two are married, but Alessandra is deeply unhappy in her marriage. Dominic is never around, never pays her any attention at all, and this will be their book as they fall back in love. I have seen many people theorizing about whether we think they break up and then get back together, whether that he finally wakes up one day and realizes what an idiot he's being and then they work on it while still being together. I have no idea what format this book is going to take, but I am a big fan of a second chance romance and I cannot wait for this book. It is going to blow me away, and just the little snippets that have been teased and I have seen and the reviews that I've seen, I know this is going to be a good second chance romance too. Like, Dominic is gonna grovel and I'm so ready for it. And then we just have to get this book out of the way. I'm sure you are tired of seeing it on anticipated releases videos, but that is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This is book 2 to Fourth Wing. Wish that this book wasn't as good as the hype, and I kind of wish that it hadn't blown up so much, but it deserved to. It really is a fantastic book. It is probably my favourite book of the year. It really blew me away more than I wanted it to. I did not want to give in to the hype, and yet here we are. I gave in to the hype. Basically, Fourth Wing is a romantasy book set in a military academy, and we follow Violet as she is forced by her mother to try to join the Riders Quadrant in this society. She was brought up to be a scribe, she really wanted to be a scribe, but she is then forced into being a rider, and these riders have pretty much free reign to try and like kill each other so that there's less competition, and their aim is to be chosen as worthy by a dragon and have these dragons decide that they want to have these students as their riders, and it's a very eat or be eaten kind of situation. And I loved this book. It ended on quite the cliffhanger. I cannot wait for the next book. I know that the next book's going to be more fantasy than romance, and it's one of the few times when I'm actually okay with that, because the fantasy was so good and so intriguing, and there's so many intriguing elements that I just cannot wait. And again, I've seen so many theories that I just cannot wait for the next book. I am not one to actually pre-order. I have these anticipated releases videos, but I don't actually pre-order most of the books, I just wait for them to come out. But I pre-ordered Iron Flame the minute I finished Fourth Wing, which really says a lot. I cannot wait. I have also bought another edition of Fourth Wing that is pretty. Something is happening to me. I am now buying multiple editions of the same book. I will probably do the same with Iron Flame if another pretty edition of Iron Flame comes out, because I didn't manage to get my hands on the Waterstones exclusive of Iron Flame. So I can't wait. Basically, it's very deserving of the hype. I don't know what more to tell you. I am anticipating the release of this book, and I haven't even read the original book yet, and that is Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldry. This is a prequel to much beloved fantasy novel Legends and Lattes. I have yet to read it, but I will be starting it on Monday and hopefully reading it on Monday in the entire day. But I'm a couple days away from having read Bookshops and Bonedust. In fact, by the time this video is live, I should have hopefully, fingers crossed, read it. But I am anticipating the release of Bookshops and Bonedust because I just know that I'm going to love Legends and Lattes. I can't see any reason why I wouldn't love it, and Bookshops and Bonedust follows Bookshops. It's gonna be amazing. So Legends and Lattes is a cozy high fantasy low stakes fantasy novel with a found family trope that follows an orc who is trying to open the first coffee shop in this realm village place. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know, and I believe this leads her on a series of quests to opening this coffee shop, and I think it sounds adorably cozy, and I cannot wait to read it whilst drinking a lot of coffee, probably some hazelnut lattes, because it is well renowned as the coziest drink. I'm sorry, I just don't make the rules. So this follows our main character Viv, and she is kind of stranded in this place, and it leads to her spending a lot of time in a bookshop with its grumpy bookshop owner slash person who works there. And that's all I really care to know. I'm not one who likes to go into any kind of fantasy book knowing a lot about it. I tend to not really read the blurbs. I see the hype, I see the tropes. That's usually how it goes when I read fantasy. Romance is a different story, but I just think fantasy is much better if you immerse yourself in the world without trying to figure out how you're going to get from point A to point B, because you know what point B is from reading the blurb. I just prefer to be at point A with no idea where I'm supposed to be going and just letting the book kind of tell the story for itself. so I don't like to know things. Just generally as well, to be honest, I don't like to know things. This is another one that you might be sick of hearing about really, and that is Ruthless Vows, Letters of Enchantment Book 2. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals, which I have just read and loved. I gave it 4 to 4.5 stars, still a little bit undecided on it to be honest, but it is just a very cozy tale. It is You've Got Mail in a fantasy romance novel form. It is very, very cute. It follows our main character, and she is sending letters to her brother who is away at war, fighting a war for the gods, but she can't actually send him letters, so she's putting the letters into her wardrobe to pretend that she's sending them to him, but these letters are magically disappearing somehow, and then she starts to get letters back, and it follows this magical like pen pal relationship and why these letters are mysteriously being sent back and forth to each other by magic, and it is so cute. If you like You've Got Mail and the coziness of You've Got Mail, this is that in book form with a fantasy element and a war element, but in this book the war element is prominent, but it doesn't feel like a war fantasy. It is a surprisingly cozy way to tell a war story. I don't really know how the author manages it, because normally war fantasies are harrowing and terrifying. I'm looking at you, Poppy War, I will never ever recover. But this one, no, it's cozy. It shouldn't be, but it is. So I am excited about the next book. I'm really nervous about the direction that the next book can take. It's very possible that I won't enjoy it, but it is worth giving it a chance. I might enjoy it, and I loved the first one enough to really give it a go. I literally read the first book in less than 24 hours. I just could not put it down, so fingers crossed that I like the next book. I am anticipating it. I will be buying it as soon as it comes out, and I will be a happy little bunny, hopefully. Next, I'm kind of surprised at the release date on this one, and I will explain why in a minute, and that is A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. This is a sequel slash spin-off to A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, which I've really enjoyed this Halloween season. I am surprised that this book is releasing at the end of this year and they're not waiting until next like Halloween season. It seems like releasing this around the Christmas period is probably not going to be great for this book's sales, but I'm sure that everybody involved in the publishing of this book knows much more than me what they're talking about. But I was just confused to see that this book was releasing so soon. Probably more of a spin-off than a follow-up, but kind of like how most romance series are a standalone in a series. We follow the villain of book 1, basically, finding love, and somehow he's gonna be redeemed in my heart. I'm not sure how, but I very much trust this author to be able to do it. What I really loved about the first book was the author's ability to weave a really intricate plot and reason why these characters couldn't be together, and then also very cleverly weave herself out of it and get herself out of the hole that she had dug. I thought it was very, very clever and very well thought out, and so I'm excited to see how that's gonna work in this one, because if you've read A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, you know what a villain Astaroth is, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this character can be redeemed and how the author gets herself out of that little problem, especially because he and Calladia have already met, they already hate each other, probably going to be an enemies to lovers forced proximity thing, and I am really, really excited about this book. I think it could be really good. I don't know if I will get to it this year though. Again, like it's such a spooky season book. The small town is very reminiscent of Halloween Town as a location. It's a very small town full of magical creatures atmosphere, and I just don't know if I'm going to be in the mood for that in the Christmas period. But I am nevertheless excited that this book is coming out. I am anticipating its release. I will probably buy it as soon as it comes out. Just whether I read it straight away is the problem, but that is usually the problem for me anyway. And then we have a new book series by one of my favourite romance authors, and that is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I have a whole shelf dedicated to Lauren Asher. We've got the Dirty Air series and the Dreamland Billionaire series there. Those aren't Lauren Asher books yet on this end, but they will be when the Lakefront Billionaire series is completed and I have all of the books to complete the shelf. But yeah, I am a very big Lauren Asher fan. I love that the start of her books have playlists and they usually involve a lot of Taylor Swift. I feel like me and Lauren Asher would just be really good friends because she likes Disney, she likes Taylor Swift, and she likes Formula One. Like, she is me in an author, and I'm really excited that she is bringing out a new series called The Lakefront Billionaires. I love a good billionaires romance. My favourite Lauren Asher books actually would be Terms and Conditions, which is Marriage of Convenience but is a billionaire romance, and then also just generally, if you would like another recommendation, book 2 in the Dirty Air series, Collided, is a friends to lovers with a bucket list trope, which I really enjoyed and was my favourite of the Dirty Air series. So this is a childhood rivals to lovers story following Julian and Dahlia, and it's set at Lake Wisteria, which, if I'm right, is where Final Offer was set. And Dahlia comes to town to get some creative inspiration. She is a architect, I think. No, she is an interior designer. She comes to town for some inspiration, and Julian ends up having to help her so that she can get out of town faster, and he then realises that he actually kind of wants her to stay. It's a rivals to lovers. It's got a small town lake setting. It's Lauren Asher, basically. I don't even have to look up what her books are about anymore. If she announces that she's got a new book coming out, I'm at least gonna give it a try. Lauren Asher is an insta-buy author for me at this point, as is, like, side note, as is Elsie Silver. Elsie Silver has just announced a new small town romance series after the completion of the Chestnut Springs series. It's set in the same universe, and I don't have a release date for that, or like a cover or anything like that, so I can't tell you much about it. But just so you know, I am anticipating its release, which I imagine will be next year. It will definitely be in a more updated anticipated releases video in the new year, but you know, just whilst we're talking about insta-buy authors, if you're not reading Elsie Silver yet, you should be. And so that is my end of the year anticipated releases. I am nothing if not basic. I'm literally sat here with the pumpkin mug that every single person in the world has. I've got fairy lights on my bookcase like every single other person. Again, I like Taylor Swift, pumpkin spice lattes, Formula One. I am nothing if I am not like other girls, and I'm okay with that. But that means that a lot of the books on this list you've probably already heard of and are anticipating yourself, but I just thought I would share them anyway. You know, like, we're here to chat about books and be friends, so, you know, these are what I'm excited about. Let me know down in the comments section what books you are excited about, especially if they are romance. Any like new romance series that are being updated this year or soon and you think that I should be reading them because I would enjoy them. I'm in the mood for like some new romance authors and some new romance series to lose myself in, so please let me know down in the comments any recommendations you have for me based on this list. If you guys liked this video or you liked the types of books that I read, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below. If we're all reading the same thing, then we all get some new recommendations together, and it's just a good fun time. It means I get to make some friends that are also reading fluffy little romance books, because I don't really have anyone in my real life that reads those types of books. Everyone is reading like actual adult literature, and I'm just a teenage girl in my 20s. Like, I don't want to face non-fluffy things in my books. Need some people to talk about it with. Also, do please feel free to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page and Chapter. I can't seem to stop rambling today. I think it's the amount of tea that I've had this morning. I'm just having one of those days where I can't stop having cups of tea and it's just making me ramble like crazy. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week. You're enjoying everything you are reading and there are no reading slumps in your future. And I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.